The dog could turn the story, turn it and I watch the pop. Look the fuck in. So recently I've been getting hella comments saying that I look like Declan Rice, and to be honest I kind of see it. But I take it as a compliment because I'm a Arsenal fan myself. By the way, excuse the fucking choppy image of Declan Rice being locked up. But anyway, today I'm going to be explaining why none of you have any idea how to lock in and actually how to get work done. Because if we're being honest, we say we procrastinate a lot, and I'm sure we do, okay? To some extent we all procrastinate, but the biggest problem I see in people when they're trying to get work done is that they sit down and then they fucking get distracted. I used to be this guy. I used to sit down, I used to put up my work task, and then I would get a message, and then I would stop my entire work task. My friend would be telling me something, I would indulge, I would do a conversation, then I would look something up, and bam, I'm entirely off track now. Or I would just feel a sudden wave of tiredness or a craving to get something out the fridge, and I would indulge in it. So what I want you to do is actually analyze the phrase lock in. What does this mean? If your grandma looks at the phrase lock in, what does she think of? Because it baffles me how many people fail to see this. And to be honest, I'm going to put my hands up because I also failed to see this for the longest time. But locking in actually comes from, I'm going to lock myself in a room and get to this goal. The reason we say this is because we are going to eliminate all distractions and only focus on one significant thing, which will get us closer to the goal. The reason this is so important is because if we don't lock ourselves in, if we submit ourselves to distractions, we are going to indulge. I need you to understand this. One of my friends recently asked me, why is it so dark in my room? Why do I have to use a light for every recording session? Do I only record at night? The answer is no. It's 1 p.m. right fucking now. The reason it's dark is because I literally lock myself in. I have the blinds down. I have my door shut. It's only me and you here. So what you have to do is you have to remove all distractions that you can possibly think of before you sit down. It's going to be so much easier to keep working if you don't have to resist anything. Why would you make life harder for yourself? It's the same logic as the argument in motivational discipline. If you can be motivated, then why the fuck would you choose discipline? I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but like, fucking hell. So most distractions, you have to understand, come from stimuli that your brain picks up on. So by this, I mean once you see a message from your friend, once you hear someone drilling upstairs, once you've anything realistically. The biggest one is always going to be sight. So let's just start with that. What are some things that could get you distracted? One of the biggest ones, no, actually scratch that. The biggest one is your phone. Why is your phone in the same room as you when you work? I'm going to explain this to you in the most understandable way possible. Every single distraction you indulge in on a daily basis, or at least 90% of them, are located inside of your phone. By putting this in your direct vicinity once you're trying to get work done, it's not logical, to say the least, okay? Every single time you get into a work block, actually decide that you're going to get into work block. So the biggest thing people do, and the reason they can't lock in, if this is leisure and this is work, they exist somewhere here. And this is the worst place to be. When you're kind of working, but you're also kind of scrolling on reels every 15 minutes. You're supposed to be working, but you're checking your messages, so you're not really getting any deep work done. This is what happens when you end up in this side of the spectrum. And on the other side, it's kind of the opposite, but in a bad way also, where you're supposed to be resting, but you can't really turn off because you're constantly thinking about work. Your boss is contacting you because you have unfinished tasks, or even if you don't have a boss, you're thinking about stuff you should or shouldn't have done. You don't want to be here, so make your goal to never ever be here. And the way you do that is to set yourself dedicated periods of time. In the next 3 hours, I'm going to work. And you're going to go all in on fucking working. And after that, bro, you're going to watch hella Netflix. You're going to eat the tastiest food. Now, obviously, that's not ideal. But if that's what actually gets you to having 5 hours of focused, deep work every single day, be my guest. And the first step to achieving this is removing your phone from your direct vicinity. The next thing is clutter. If you have random stuff on your desk right now, all of them are visual cues. What a cue is basically it's like a potential trigger for a thought pattern to be evoked in your brain. So for example, if I have like a picture of my grandma on the wall, even this, yes, can lead me to start thinking about the family tree. If I have a contract on my desk, I could start thinking about when I'm going to sign it, when I'm going to read it through with my lawyer, this and that. Anything that is in your direct vicinity is a potential trigger, right? So what the best top entrepreneurs do, such as like Alex Hormozy, is he locks himself in a cupboard. He works in like a closet. It's like a 2 square meter room, and he only has his PC in there. Nothing realistically is distracting him, okay? And anything else basically in your environment, such as people coming into your room, asking you questions, stuff happening outside, just block it out. I have my blinds down. My friend knows that I'm working at this time, so he's not going to come in my room to disturb me. What is there to distract me? I'm fully locked in onto this video. I'm in a flow state and I'm thinking about nothing else. If you don't tick all of these boxes for yourself, how are you going to compete with someone like me? And finally, you know, I could talk about like smell and sensing, like, you know, touch, but those are very, very minuscule. So I'm just going to keep it at this. Anything that could potentially enter your brain through outside stimuli needs to be eliminated unless it is directly work. Of course, there's also like digital environment. I talked about removing your phone, but you also have to think about having your messages open on your PC while you're working, you know, having WhatsApp open. Maybe you can try some like screen blockers or website blockers or stuff. But the best thing is if you just like delete it, if you just use a different setup in the first place, if you use a different PC, that's probably the best thing to do. And if you know, actually want to ask yourself the question, do I even need this stuff? You know, Discord, the old messaging app I used to use with my friends, these video games on my home screen, you might just straight up want to delete it, you know. But I digress. The second type of triggers, the final one we need to talk about, this is going to be quite a short video, is internal triggers. What I mean by internal triggers is the stuff that is actually us. It's our physiology, it's our thoughts, etc., that happens that isn't evoked by anything external. So this could be, for example, thirst. Do you have water on your desk? Because again, this is a prime example of excuse that you could have easily blocked out before actually getting into your deep work block, but now you're going to get distracted. And it's not only like the first or the consequence of, okay, I'm just going to go and get water. You might get distracted because now, you know, your roommates may be out in the living room and you might start talking to them. And, you know, then they might say that, oh, have you checked out this girl's Instagram? She posted a story and she's so hot. And now you're looking at Instagram just because you got a bit thirsty. Like, it's crazy. Also, do you need to take a piss? Do you need to use the toilet? It's very trivial, but most of us don't even think of this. We've embedded our lifestyle into this kind of non-routine thing, most of us, where we just act as we please. We kind of, because we're a bit higher level than the average person, we do have this sense of, okay, I need to lock in, I need to work. So we do work. But as I said, if we were to draw this like leisure work scale out, it's in the middle. And that's why we don't even think about these things once we try to lock in and enter a deep work block. As well as internal reminders. Have I set myself any internal reminders? You know, this could be, I need to eat at this time. Have you eaten? Okay, I need to take the dog for a walk at this time. That's something people do, right? I need to take the trash out. I'm getting a delivery at this time. You know, all of these things can be kind of fixed in advance. If you take the dog 1 hour earlier, he's not going to piss himself overnight. If you give the delivery driver instructions on where to drop it off, or maybe when to come, you know, with some services you can even do that, that's also cool. Like, you don't have to disrupt your whole entire work routine just because some external factor messed it up for you. And, you know, the best thing you could do right now once you click off this video and once it ends is to sit in silence for 5 minutes and just ask yourself this question. Okay, how am I going to get distracted? If you're being honest, you are going to get distracted. Even I get distracted, even though I do like 90% of these things usually. Usually I slack off in 1 or 2, but I really pay attention to actually do all of these. So you're going to get distracted. Ask yourself how. Visualize it. In the future, I'm going to sit down and what's going to happen? Oh, I'm going to get a message. Okay, my phone's out of my room. Okay, next visualization. I'm going to sit down. Yeah, I'm going to need to take a piss. Okay, I'm going to stand up and go take a piss before I sit down. Okay, what's going to happen? Maybe I'm going to get a bit hungry. Do I have a delivery arranged? Okay, do I have food in the fridge? Am I really hungry right now? No, I can probably last like 2 hours, etc., etc. Think the fucking situation through, okay? It's not that difficult. And remember, actually lock yourself in like Declan Rice. I don't think he did anything wrong, but like, if you actually manage to, you know, pull your blinds down, because why wouldn't you? If you actually want to lock yourself in, let less noise in, less visual stimuli in, be my guest. It's really not that difficult, and that's the reason I'm just going to end this video here, because it's really self-explanatory. I could waste your time with some advanced techniques about locking in, but once you have a bit of clarity on the situation, you're going to realize that productivity is about doing less and getting more. Any technique, any kind of advanced thing is only adding to your life, and what you want is to remove everything other than your work. I hope this method of removing distractions gave you enough insight to actually do that.